Caleb Tallman, Jake West here with you folks. This is your Western North Carolina postgame show. Jake and I are just going to do a quick wrap-up of the games we had in our area tonight as we just finished watching on the GWY Braves Network. Jake, as Murphy had a game-clinching interception. They had what appeared to be the closest game of the night, but there were several good games throughout our coverage area. Tell us your thoughts on the night, Jake. Obviously, we're here in Hayesville. And Hayesville was, pretty well defeated by.
Seven took the win 31-7, put their foot in the ground. I mean, they were in control of this ball game from start to finish. I mean, they never slacked, never slowed down. The kids that they've got on that sideline, I never saw them really get amped up. I mean, it was just kind of, we're coming in here, we're going to take care of business, and then we're going to go home. And I think that's just kind of the mentality that these kids have. I mean, Andrew's kids, they're not very flashy. They're not going to talk to you. They're not going to jaw a lot. They just come in, get things done, and then go back home. And right now they're going back home as still the lone undefeated team in Western North Carolina. As far as Murphy's concerned, I said going into this, Murphy had to win this ball game by a large margin in order to get some of the naysayers off their back. So I think obviously they didn't do that with a one score or with a 1 point win. And then Robbinsville losing by 3 points to Broome, team in South Carolina, 46-43. We called it. That was going to be a game like the Winston-Salem prep game for Robbinsville. And
the difference was there, and we watched those last few plays, and big pass rush, but their quarterback situation is not what they need it to be. Their quarterback situation, Dason Groves had the opportunity to make some plays at the end, and he took a couple of hard sacks that weren't necessarily his fault, but at the end of the day, when you look at it, he missed a bubble screen where they probably could have picked up 10 or 15 yards, just threw it short,
Yeah, that one play we saw obviously wasn't great from Dason, but he scored 43 points. I'm not going to put that on the quarterback. You've been touted as the best defense in the Smoky Mountain Conference, and then you go up and give up 40.
Don't tell Andrews that.
Yeah, you go and give up 43 points, obviously to a really high-powered offense in Broome. But, in the Smoky Mountain Conference, I would say the only team that's going home and is going to rest their heads with a smile on their face is going to be Andrews, because they are everything that they told us they were and more. I mean, this team is for real. They had all their guys back, and what a difference having all their guys back made. It wasn't just number 5 and number 2 carrying the whole load. I mean, it was a heavy dose of 5 and 2, but it was. They got great contributions from everyone all around on their team.
Well, and one of the interesting things is Isaac Weaver. Obviously, Jake, he was not a full go tonight. Man, it's scary to think that he wasn't 100% healthy, and he still had 2 interceptions, receiving touchdown, a couple of big runs, and some big hits on defense. Obviously, if he's full go, he's starting at wingback for them or whatever they, every team calls that position different. I know you got Martin at fullback. So it's just a scary thought thinking that he's still going to get better as he heals up. I think we both said it. Andrews right now, I said this in the broadcast, Jake. We want to keep saying it's same old Andrews. They had no, this Andrews team, take away the name, take away the jersey, take away the mascot, and you just put that team in neutral jerseys out on a field, and you put them out there with any other team in Western North Carolina, and you just do the eyeball test, and you say, man, that's one of the best teams in Western North Carolina. That's one of the best teams in 1A football. People need to get out of their minds that this is Andrews. Because guess what? This Andrews team is probably the best Andrews team that's ever graced the field on that end of Cherokee County. I mean, they are absolutely fantastic. They don't hurt themselves. They don't turn over the ball up to this point in the year. They're great tackling. I mean, there were so many times tonight where I thought, okay, Taylor McClure, break one more tackle and you're gone for 80. Okay, Kyle Luntzer, break that last tackle by the DB and you're gone for a 50-yard run. Logan Caldwell, you had a good quarterback scramble. They never missed that tackle. I mean, I'm not saying never, but they're the surest tackling team I've seen in years around here. And I absolutely have them at the top of my conference power rankings.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we knew they were going to be in the big three coming into this year, and they've proven it right. I mean, they are the number one team in the Smoky Mountain Conference, and I think that with this team, it starts all the way from the coaching staff, the administration. I mean, James Phillips, Matt Manley, Frank Manley, their AD, all the way up through um, all of their staff and all of that whole administration. I mean, it's just, I mean, they don't care that people look down on them. They don't care.
And one of the great things to see is the community starting to get behind them.
Yeah, and I
I
mean,
was a little frustrated when I went over to that North Bumpkin game. It wasn't the biggest crowd in the world. I guess I know because they knew they're going to blow out North Bumpkin. But you looked across the stands, and there wasn't an inch of room in the visiting stands here at Hazel tonight as people made the trek over from Andrews.
yeah, it's great for the community what this team is doing, and I mean, just from an outsider's perspective, those kids are really good football players, but they're also really good off the football field as well. Like they're just, I mean,
They're good kids.
they're always polite, they're always nice, and that goes back to the administration and the coaching staff as well. Just preaching that what you do off the football field is just as important as what you do on the football field. And that's great to see from those kids. I mean, I don't think you're going to find a nicer um, kid than Donovan Bateman and Isaac Weaver, and just they're always very polite and they always interact well with everybody. And Donovan Bateman, a great leader. I'm going to say he's our Andrews Player of the Week this week. I know.
Here's the thing. He doesn't have the biggest stat lines, Jake, but he makes the plays when you need him to make it. He didn't do that last year, to be honest. And that's what kept Andrews from being a really good team to being a team that's a 1A state contender, right? Now you saw him, when he needed to make the throws they asked him to make, he made them. I mean, that ball he threw to Weaver for the second touchdown, that's as good as a pass as you're going to see from any quarterback all year.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what we talked about going into this one. Bateman had to have a big game. It couldn't just be on Martin and Weaver running the football. And Bateman completed every pass that was asked of him. I think I only saw him overthrow one open guy. And I mean, it's high school football. You're going to have that. But yeah, I mean, disappointment from Robbinsville, disappointment from Murphy, disappointment from Franklin, disappointment from Hayesville. If you're Andrews, you got to be riding high. But also those, I mean, they were not celebrating like they just won the state championship. Coach Phillips
Back to work.
So Coach Phillips told those kids, you can go home, you can sleep on this, you can have fun tonight, but tomorrow film's going to be posted. You need to start watching it because we've got Swain, and that is a winning mentality. That's a state championship mentality. And forget about Smoky Mountain Conference champs. Their mentality has changed from we just need to win the conference to we can compete with every team in the state, and they proved that against Mitchell, and they proved that tonight, 31-7, big win. Caleb, do you have any
The last thing I'll say is just a closing thought is I think you put Andrews at the top right now, but they're going to have some tough games coming up. But I tell you what, the other 5 in the conference, Hazel had an off night. The McTaggart suspension, last minute kind of and in the middle of the week hurt them. They'll have more time to prepare for their next game. And then who knows with Swain, who knows with Robbinsville, because they both have had so many COVID issues. They've not had full schedules. And then you've got Murphy and Cherokee who play. My question is Murphy not as good as we thought they were and struggled badly at Cherokee tonight? And or is Cherokee a whole lot better than we thought they were? Because right now, the way I look at it, I'd favor Andrews going to any game. But I think you look at the other 5 teams in the conference, and you say anyone could win on any given night.
I mean, you mentioned the McTaggart being out, but I don't think McTaggart makes 31.
No. I think
31.
No, I'm not blaming. Don't get me wrong here. All the credit in the world to Andrews. They outplayed the Yellow Jackets tonight. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, hopefully they get McTaggart back at some point, and hopefully Swain gets healthy. Hopefully Robbinsville's COVID issues are behind them. Hopefully Murphy, as they've dealt with some injuries and COVID issues, if we can get to all things just being level and not having a bunch of quarantines. JVs are going to start to come up as the JV season ending. Some of the rosters will start to expand. I'm just saying, I think other than Andrews, there's 5 teams in the conference right now. Hazel could go and beat Murphy next week, or they could get blown out. I think who is it? Robbinsville and Cherokee next week. Cherokee go out there and smoke Robbinsville for all. I just don't. I think there's so many unknowns. The conference is as competitive as it's been since I moved here 15 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. But there is one thing for sure is that Andrews is number one. I hope they don't make a liar out of me next week against Swain, but they are for sure, without a doubt, the number one team in the conference right now. I mean, there's like you said, there's just too many unknowns with the other teams. Robbinsville, tough loss. Credit to Robbinsville, though, fought back, climbed back in that game, and had a chance to win it there at the end. That Broome, South Carolina team is a very good football team, and Robbinsville's still shaking off some of the rust. They'll be all right.
It's so
Murphy and Cherokee, both those teams. I mean, Don Bradley's going to be able to keep you in any game. I think Murphy had a lot of mistakes, which is going to be something with this Murphy team to keep an eye on. I mean, they could go out there and turn the ball over 3 or 4 times and get, like you said, get beat by Hayesville or get beat by um, anyone, or they can go out there and they can compete with anybody. It just depends on what Murphy team shows up.
Absolutely. Hey, as we get ready to sign off, Jake, let's just remind folks, make sure you're checking out the Twitter and Facebook pages of Team FYN Sports throughout the weekend as we post highlights, as we post all the game wrap ups and reviews from around the conference this weekend. So stay tuned. Team FYN Sports still has a busy weekend ahead as we have all of our wrap ups and reviews and highlights. Make sure to check out the Western North Carolina postgame show. Or check out the Western North Carolina Friday Night Press Box on Thursday. Still busy week for us, Jake. Got lots of going on, and we're looking forward because for us, it's back to the grind, and we'll be back to prepare all of our fans and followers for next week's games.
Yeah, for sure. Congrats to everybody that got a win tonight. Congrats to everybody that got to play tonight. That's a big thing in this year. But I mean, hats off to Andrews for real.
Signing off, guys. Hope everyone has a great night. Safe drives home.